I want you to watch a great moment from the debate with Douglas Murray debating Mehdi Hasan, author of How to Win Every Argument. I think that's Win Every Argument. That's the title of his book. But this is a clip where he's taking Mehdi head on the accusations he levels against Israel and how she's conducting the war, because he proves how disingenuous all the claims are. Have a watch of this great clip.
You started with a peroration about me not mentioning the Palestinian casualties. That's because I started by mentioning the war, and there is no law of war that says you're allowed to start a war and then complain when you lose it. And if Mehdi cares about the Palestinian casualties, as I'm sure he does, then tell your bosses in Qatar to tell their friends in Gaza to stop the war and give back the hostages. Gideon says Israel needs nothing more than criticism, as if Israel doesn't get criticism. Wow, he doesn't even read his own country's press. By the way, you said the other day in an interview, Gideon, I couldn't care less about the Jewish state, so we know very well where you're coming from. Let me just say a couple of things about that I didn't get to in my opening remarks, but are important. You know, if you didn't throng the streets of this city or any other for the actual genocide going on in Sudan, not the one that Mehdi and Gideon pretend is happening, but the actual genocide going on in Sudan, if you didn't spend weekend after weekend doing that, but you did come out for the post-October the 7th protests, you're an anti-Semite. If, like Mehdi once sent a tweet condemning that, it doesn't give you quite enough smoke cover. You know, if you protested not a bit, didn't set up a tent when Bashar al-Assad was killing 6 times the number of people in a decade that Israel and all of its enemies have lost in 75 years of war, you are an anti-Semite. And I would just add one other thing. I know that Mehdi has tried to reframe the motion. I'm not going to allow it either. You know, maybe there is somebody in the world. Pakistan was invented, created as a state around the same time as Israel. I reckon that if this debate tonight was about Pakistan started a lot of wars, it suffered a lot of wars, it suffered a lot of casualties, caused a lot of casualties. But you know what? If somebody said, I think Pakistan should be abolished. They just don't have the right to a state, and although they had one set up for them many decades ago, we should abolish it. I think people would say, And then if the person said, but, oh, by the way, although I want to abolish that state, I have no problem with the Pakistani people. Please, of course you would.
Show those up.
So it's a great moment in the debate, and I think that point that he finished with is really important. Just think about this. Is there any other country that exists right now that anyone else is questioning the country's right to exist? But it's only the Jewish state. And then when countries do heinous things, incomparable to Israel fighting a defensive war, when people are against Russia, does anyone say, I'm anti-Russia, I think Russia has lost the right to exist? They might say I'm anti-Putin, anti the government. People saying I'm anti-Israel. There's only one country in the world where people actually say I'm anti the country. And you want to tell me that this has nothing to do with the age-old virus of anti-Semitism? That Israel's Jewishness has absolutely nothing to do with the reason that they get an unprecedented level of focus and attention and double standards and calling for her to be annihilated. It has everything to do with the fact that it's the one and only Jewish state. And Douglas expresses that very clearly. And if you can't see that, you need to start zooming out and thinking a bit more objectively. Anti-Zionism is the new anti-Semitism. And it's time that we're completely unequivocal in calling that out and standing firm in saying that Israel is not going anywhere. Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.